Testing, 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 testing. Thank you so much, Atlam. So I'm not gonna lie, I yesterday, okay, this is a long, weird story, but I had some leaks on my property this week and my water bill skyrocketed. Had some landscapers out, they were checking it out and they found 3 leaks, fixed them. While they were here, they were messing with my sprinkling system, you know, in the garage. And in my garage, I have a boat, which I haven't really done anything with in the last decade. Because the last time we used it, a storm creeped up on the lake and my wife nearly drowned. My son got terrified. It was a whole traumatic experience. And so we don't really like going on the lake anymore. So we have this boat that's from the 90s that, you know, has just been sitting, kind of collecting dust and wilting and wilting, I should say, in my garage. And this guy came over and was checking it, like in the garage doing stuff. He's like, "Hey, you going out on the lake?" I'm like, "Man, I don't go on the lake anymore. I wish." And he was like, "Man, I'd love a boat like this." And he offered to buy it. And I was like, "Man, tell you what, let me clean it up." Cause it's like been basically a glorified storage unit. And it was full of boxes and scrap wood and trash and recycling, and I was like, let me clean it up so you can take a look at it and we'll talk about it. And then I spent yesterday cleaning it up. It was a disaster-y. Hey Swamp, how you doing? Hello Eduardo. So I was jumping in and out of this boat all day yesterday with my shop vac, cleaning stuff up. I pulled out all the seats and pressure washed them. My wife was out helping me and she was scrubbing the sides of the boat. Like, we were just cleaning it up because it'd been sitting there a while. And I feel like, you know, the guy should get the actual representation of what it is. He'll be coming to check it out in the next couple of days, so I'm hoping he buys it. It would be very nice if he does. Because for the most part, it's just been collecting dust in my garage for the better part of a decade. It's like an old, yeah, like a ski boat, I guess you could call it. It's like an old Wellcraft 18-foot boat. I got it in the night. It's from the 90s. No joke. I got it like from the third owner who was selling it. And like at the time I had a SUV and I would take it to the lake. My friends and family, we'd all go all the time. It was a lot of fun. But that last trip got really scary, so we just haven't been since. Like the weather was perfect for the day. We went out, we were hanging out, and then we saw a storm creeping in. And I was like, oh, we gotta go. We like tore up our camp, threw it into the boat, and headed for the docks. We were one of the first boats there. And as we were there, like a whole horde of boats came in, like Mad Max style, because everyone else saw the storm. But like they came in like a horde, and everyone was trying to rush into the dock and get docked up and get their vehicle in and tow their boat out, blah, blah. It's a whole process. And we were the first boat there. We tied up and the storm was starting to creep in. And then I was backing our car up. And as this was happening, a bunch of boats came in. Some dude almost hit our boat. Like it was a buoy bump because he was just in a rush to get in there and wasn't like paying attention. Anyway, it was scary. So I'm excited to kind of like move on from the experience and get, because I've had it forever and it's just been a burden. I really enjoyed it. We did some tubing, some wakeboarding, some fishing, like just in general, like just fun sand beach days and stuff. But yeah, there is some scary stuff that can happen on the water, and your whole life can turn upside down in a moment if you're not careful. So I, at the moment, I'm kind of excited to kind of move on. That space in my garage, I could set up a nice little workshop there or something, do something with it. That's kind of my goal at the moment. Hoping this person is eager to get it. Anyway, moving on from my personal life. Like, I enjoyed boating, don't get me wrong. I've done it a lot in my life, in my youth and in my adulthood. But yeah, I just wouldn't want to lose my life, my wife, or my son's life over it. And it was a really scary day, and it just came out of nowhere. We were prepared and like made, got there quickly, but no amount of preparedness can, compensate for idiocy and, just a ton of people. Hey, Chim, how are you? So, welcome back to Mapmaker Monday. Sorry for that little story time from Mac. We're going to be working on this cemetery area here, but I'm kind of looking at this walkway, and I'm trying to decide if it's lined up, right? And if you look at this, it really isn't. And what did I do here? I think I just have to go with it. I have to wing it, because it's definitely not lined up. Wow, Barry, that's impressive. Tell me what you've been building, what you've been working on. Please map responsibly. Hey, SK Drag, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Bonjour to you, my friend. Bonjour. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Hello, good day. I'm gonna just try and line this up the best I can. Wishful thinking, I know. Probably not. I don't know, I kind of like the hand-laid path I did, but then it ended up so close over here. Gotta kind of just straighten this out, I think. So many decisions. Yeah, the leveling can get pretty, like, jarring if you're like, wait, where are all the objects and the stuff that I did earlier? Just gotta jump up a level, right? Someone messaged us on, I think, TikTok the other day, and they're like, man, it would be really cool if I could see all the levels in the cinematic camera. I'm like, but you can. You just gotta go up all the levels and then enter the cinematic camera. Interesting, Barry. That's cool. So tell me more. I'm assuming the players did something to clear this orphanage. Sounds dubious at best, but I'm interested. I'm hooked. Let's hear the story. Yes, we just cleared the Jedi Temple orphanage out, and it's perfect now for the Empire headquarters. And I really mess these up by doing it by eye. And honestly, I'm gonna pay for it. I think I'm gonna delete this and just... I'm gonna spend way too much time trying to fix this, so my plan is as follows. Up a little bit. Inch up, up, up. For those across the pond, that would be centimetering it up. I'll be here all week. Oh, thank goodness. Just add in lots and lots of graves, Rick. How are you doing today? How's work treating you thus far? I kind of am trying to line this path up so I can start setting the rest of the graves up. The key is getting good alignment. Because once you get it kind of started, then it kind of all falls into place. I think areas like this that'll be like a pizza or something, I'll do like a statue and like a little bit of hedging. Tutorial vids for what, Poseidon? What are you trying to learn, my friend? Goodness, I'm sorry, I didn't realize the TikTok feed had finally started working. Kind of crashed on my end. By the way, welcome to the stream. What are you trying to learn? We probably do have a tutorial vid for it. But a lot of what I'm doing right now is a tutorial vid. You're kind of learning from my expertise, so to speak. Watching and learning from real-time Bob Rossing of this map. What I mean? Then you just have a happy little trail here. Get to your graves. Everybody does a trail to their grave. Yeah, I do that too sometimes, but honestly, I'm kind of going with the moment here and just gonna kind of thumb it out. So, Poseidon, a few things. Welcome to the community, first off. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Because Dungeon Alchemist is in a, let's just say, early access, tutorials are a bit of a tricky thing because they often are outdated relatively quick. Now, that being said, our new update just launched very recently, and as a result of which tutorial information is forthcoming. I have a new tutorial launching tomorrow discussing roofing. I have a few more planned. Each one is about a minute long, and they're just brief kind of guidance, walking you through the new features. That being said, when it comes to multi-level, remember, it's just as simple as building a structure on top of a structure. We actually have a video on our TikTok demonstrating it, our YouTube as well, that essentially shows you how multi-level works. So you can jump between levels. Unfortunately, this map is a legacy map, which was made prior to the update. So I cannot demonstrate multi-level on it effectively unless I open another map. How you doing, Cal? Welcome back. That being said, this little widget over here usually has an arrow to jump up or down between levels, or you can use the plus or minus key to jump between levels. When you do that, it allows you to, after you have your base floor, jump up a level, add a floor on top of it. So just like you drew the floor below, you can draw a floor right on top of the existing one. It can be the same shape, it can be whatever shape. Yep, working on a graveyard map at the moment. Exactly. A wonderful observation, Cow. I like that feat, Chim. I like that. Level-headed. Honestly, though, Poseidon, I am here to answer your questions and guide you. These streams are AMA format. I'm here to answer any questions, provide you insight. So if there's something you're wondering about, I can answer it right now or show you. I could just save this map and go through it really quick for you. Otherwise, though, we have 3 streams a week you can tune in. We have our Discord you can drop in and ask questions. We have our wiki, which has tons of guidance. And then our YouTube has lots of tutorials, tips, and trick videos. And so does our TikTok. There's tons of videos that are older, hundreds of videos if you go back, that guide you through most of the basics and intricacies. That being said, throughout the next couple of weeks, there will be more videos guiding you through the new stuff. Honestly, just eyeballing it, that looks okay. I'm happy. How, if I was the king of anything, it would be baldness. Hatches and steps don't work right now, Sean, because let me tell you why. Stairs create upward spaces or, cut dynamically above them, and hatches cut dynamically below. Unfortunately, this was an oversight leading into the update because Fun with Objects was split into 2 parts. Certain aspects of it will be refined and fine-tuned before the second part is released. But essentially, hatches pretty much only work with ladders at the moment. If you want a hatch to work with anything, it has to go to like a natural underground space at this time. As far as stadium seating is concerned, I mean, there's hundreds of objects that actually lend to that. We actually have some stadium type seating objects that are stock that work great. Some were just added in the most recent update, and others were added a while ago. Let's see here. I don't remember. If you go to structural, leave under, grandstands is one of them. Grandstands is like ideal for stadiums. Look at those steps. These are meant to be a stadium type arena seating for lancing tournaments, fighting tournaments, etc. There's dozens of examples of maps that are actually stadiums and whatnot on the workshop as well, if you're looking for inspiration. But this is one of the few assets that could work rather well in that instance. So with these objects, that's one. And then there's also, I believe, is it like lecture hall stuff? What is it called? There's like a new object. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Let's look for it. These auditorium benches. These are more like if it was like a lecture hall or a surgery theater or something of that nature. But yeah. Objects is going to be the way to go when it comes to stuff like that. You have a lot more versatility. Hey, thank you for all the likes, TikTok. Y'all are insane. By that, I mean like a good way, So much stigma about mental health. I think, can also be positively in. Yeah, so sometimes when you make a roof, it bugs out, right? And it makes these weird line structures, and they had that and then they went with it. They made lemon out of lemonade, or made lemonade out of lemons. They got they were dealt a crappy hand with their roof generation, and then they had fun with it. Okay, I think those are in a decent alignment now if I follow this. What I was thinking of doing is like, I was gonna have like a fence and then a fence kind of coming along this. Then there'll be a hedge along this side. Kind of going down, and then there'll be plots every once in a while. Like, so I was gonna flip these around and have plots on the opposite side. And then probably I'll through this and plots walkway through. Honestly, I don't know how they got the roof to do that. It just sometimes happens. It's a bug in the roof generation that the devs are trying to fix. But I love when people take bugs and misuse them. We actually have a term for it in our community called CRAM. It's called creative asset misuse. So essentially, if you have an asset or something that is broken and you make the most out of it, that's what we call it. Barry, so you were part of our game found, huh? Were you able to get your key all redeemed and everything? Holding shift when I place this, so it automatically do. Whoa, thank you for that, Lorenzo. Much appreciated, my friend. Lorenzo, you crazy. I think it was rather clever. So yeah, I will admit today that I'm not like on my A game. Because super sore and did a ton of work out in the extreme Las Vegas heat yesterday. At the moment, I'm feeling a little wiped. But in fact, I feel like I might even have gotten a little hydrated. That being said, I'm still here to hang out and have fun. Any tips on making building exterior look better and not just flat? Can you elaborate on that? That's not much to work on there. I don't know what better constitutes to you there. So if you could give me an example of what you're looking for, I can try and help you out. Got some graves. Thinking some fences. Kind of like here. What's everyone been building as of late? What you working on? Any neat maps for your campaign? Swamp, typically we only like to get one entry. So if you submit multiples, I go off your latest entry, because sometimes people will submit an entry and then make adjustments or realize they had a different map. So, I mean, if you want to make multiple entries, you're more than welcome to, but I can only judge one of them. So whatever your most recent entry is your current entry. Has there been talks about empty generic theme with white textures, just having an option to turn off the texture? Where would you want to do that at necessarily, Nemka? Are you talking about on objects? Or are you talking about in the environment? Can you elaborate, please? I mean, some practice can definitely help, Barry. The more you build, right, the more dimensional your builds will get. Remember, you're just coming back into this and it's an art. It takes a little bit of practice and style to get finesse, right? Let me show you what I mean. There is, first off, if you're looking for inspiration, click this tab right here, Steam Workshop, open it, and you can click Browse Maps. There are hundreds of thousands of maps, over 12,000 of them, in fact. And you can search by name, theme, you can sort by most recent, which is my favorite thing to do, because then you can see all the latest maps being shared by everyone. So if you look at this here, oh wow, here we got a little castle. We've got some different structures, right? And you notice some of them are more square, some of them are different shaped. You can look at these and learn a lot from them just by opening the map and browsing it, taking a peek at it. It's like, you know, looking at another artist's art. It really does help, in my opinion. Now, that said, a couple little tips to get you on the right kind of path. When you're shaping a room, remember, a room doesn't always have to be square. These little dots in the corner, you can grab them and you can drag to different directions to make different shapes. So if you pull out, it makes a bite. If you pull in, it makes a bend. And if you pull to the side and inwards, it makes a diagonal cut. So if you're looking for more diversity in your builds, start with shaping your builds a little bit differently, right? That's one way to do it. Nice, is it Kos at D&D? So Curse of Strahd D&D? That's awesome. That's really cool. One moment. Chat got ahead of me and I missed a couple messages. Let me scroll up a little. So, Nemka, I guess what you're looking for is more the ability to import whatever you want to be a custom map. Is that what you're looking at? Yeah, Kraken, I do a portrait and I do a landscape simultaneously in a multi-stream. So people can watch whichever they prefer on the platform if they want. Kind of fun that way. Oh my goodness, that is definitely not lined up. No. You know what? I'm gonna deal with it. Gonna deal with it. So, first and foremost, Nemka, you do have stuff like that. There's an object set called the abstract objects. Disregard all these with the download sign, but the green ones in here, these are blank slate objects. Walls, pillars, ground pieces, and you can turn these into whatever you want. Click on these, right? This is a wall piece. It's blank. You can insert an image into it and create a texture if you want. So if you have a bit of Photoshop skills, you can download the texture template from our website, which each one of these objects has a custom template. They're all 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels, but this green area in them is the safe space for where you would create a wall. Unfortunately, we're never going to incorporate user-based creation in the generation aspects because we don't own the rights to your stuff. That's a kind of a gray, sticky area that we don't want to get into, especially with AI. We can't loop the two together because it always causes issues. People don't want their art and creations tied up in generation of somebody else's design 9 times out of 10. So we have avoided that both for ethical concerns and anyway, moving on from that. If you want generation aspects, you're tied to our art style, which is a caveat. If you want customization, you're given tools like the abstract tools where you can make custom walls, or the Steam Workshop importer where you can import custom 3D models of your own design. I think it sounds like you want your cake and to eat it too a little bit. Oops. What do I do here? You use abstract objects to add smoke to chimneys. Do you want to hear my smoke to chimney tip? Geysers. Geezers. These little guys here. They make smoke all on their own. You can resize them and raise them up and down. I stuff these in chimneys to make smoke. Oh, so many dead boys. Lots of skeletons here. There is a smoke effect there, but they're really hard to get in like a very specific spot. They're great over a general area, but when you're looking for like a very finite piece of smoke coming from a chimney, that's why I use the geysers. That, and I can disable them without deleting them. It. Fences, graves. Nemka, I agree, though. More creative freedom's always nice. At the end of the day, though, us as developers, we have to find a balance between that creative freedom we offer you and also, you know, a legal balance. I think I'm going to have... a walkway off shooting here. As much as I'd love these to line up here, it's not always practical. People's bodies don't perfectly line up to where you want things. Gotta bury them and just hope for the best, right? Honestly, Nemka, more often than not, I am an advocate for community pushes towards like more options. Trust me, behind the scenes, I'm constantly fighting for like community initiatives and more tools and DA, more options. Like a lot of weird little quirky things in DA you see and you're like, what is this? Why is this here? I often asked for it because like it fits a niche like demand, right? And not everything should just be about fitting like the absolute like the highest denominator demand. We do need to try and meet the demands as of many of our community as possible. I'm just going to come to terms with like this graveyard isn't going to be perfectly symmetrical at times because I have like weird shaped plots like this to work with. So there's going to be weirdness and it's going to be wonky, but that's how old graveyards are. They added in bodies as there was waves of them and not necessarily everything was perfectly planned out in advance. Opportunities for pizza ponds, pizza parks, pizza parties, really. Let's just numb the masses with pizza parties. Pizza plots. It just sounds like something nefarious is happening. What are the pizzas plotting? Yeah, especially, yeah, exactly, Joseph. You get it. Ooh, Calazon, that's a good idea for marking rapids and waterfalls. Rodrigo, that's interesting. So you made a cabin room, but there is a square in the floor that looks broken, like the plank's broken down. I wasn't able to change it to a normal one. Can you please guide me? Without an image or the map to reference, it's a little like trying to fix a car in the dark without a flashlight. I want to help you out. Is there any chance that you could pop over to our Discord and spin up a support or a question thread, share some pictures, maybe an image of the like area in question, a screenshot, or maybe the map so I can load it up and check it out? Because if you could share that map there, I could load it up right now and take a look. I want to get this map done so I can move on to multi-level builds on Mapmaker Monday. Part of me is wanting to just like either retire this or start working on it in my spare time so it gets finished quicker, like faster. Because then if it's done, then we can move on to multi-level builds on Mapmaker Monday instead of being tethered to this old map. Y'all know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Insane. Outsane. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can change the roofs, Curse of Strahd. So by default, roofing types tend to match the style of building. The devs have assigned different roofings to different, building styles, so it'll automatically assign a roof to it based on that. But if you want to change it, let me open up a map that's multi-level to show you. By the way, quick little tip, there is a bug in Dungeon Alchemist right now. Myself, the devs are aware of it. The devs, though, most of them are out of the office on vacation or holiday because they worked really hard pushing the update out and doing a bunch of patches right after. They need some time to recuperate, relax those noggins, so to speak. But notice DA is running really sluggish when you open a map at first. If you just hit escape and go to settings, it for some reason fixes it. I'm assuming DA defaults to a higher graphics setting than what you have it set at. And then the second you go into settings, it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be lower or wherever you're at, and it fixes it. But my frames jumped up immediately. You can, Tom, if you add animated assets from the workshop, or you build your own animated assets and add them to it. And a lot of different aspects of Dungeon Alchemist are animated. So, cause this Curse of Strahd D&D, I mean the texture more if the room was not a simple square or circle to regen the beams. You mean the ceiling? Or do you mean the shape of the actual roof? So, Sean, if you're using the room, like the wall tool, remember, paint all walls and room will just change it to the single wall you have selected. If you want to change each wall individually, you click this tool and then select the individual walls. There's no way to generate a bunch of random walls using the wall tool, only the room tool. And that's why it's nice to generate it as abandoned that way. But if you want a different variation of them, you can go into the wall tool, select change wall, and then select the individual ruined walls you want it to be by hand. So animated maps like that, like there is animation in the maps and you can export animated loops with DA and add effects and stuff, but nothing like that would be like a chase scene or movement. Something like that would have to be done in post in like a video editor or something to that effect. How do I keep track of so many threads? That's a good question, actually. I think years of practice. I'm looking at like a bunch of chat feeds, if you don't notice. If you see, my eyes are darting around like crazy, but I spend about 20, 30 seconds per screen and then move on. I do that so I have a ton of time to read everyone's chat. You can erase the portions of a wall right there with the remove wall tool, and you can even resize the brush, do a tiny section or entire sections. You would love an invisible floor tile? How about the remove floor tile? That close enough? Okay, hold on. I'm getting a little bit behind in chat. So the shape of the roof is dictated by the building below it, right? And each room can have its own roofing, but then if you merge them, it can make a different one. So if you want different shaping, A, different types of roofing have different apexes, and B, the building shape can dictate the roof shape, right? The wider the building is, the more likely it's going to have a flattened roof or no like pointed apex. But notice here, I got some neat little kind of angled pieces because the shaping of the building below. So you can kind of experiment with shaping of the room below and the shaping of the structure overall to get different roof type structures. That's really the point of difference at the moment. There's no way to grab the points and change them and articulate them at this time. In the future, maybe. But for right now, the only way to really change it is either change it to something that's like bubbled in the different shapes of roofing, right, and types, or shape the structure below to be a slightly weird shape that gives it more character. Rise in a bit, okay, buddy? Let me answer the questions I have in front of me and we'll jump into a map. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss any questions above. Another thing too, for an invisible floor, you can use an abstract and put an invisible blank PNG in there, and it would be an invisible floor. Here. Rodrigo, if you want to spin up a thread later in Discord, I will gladly take a look at it. Myself, the mods, other community members. The more information, the better it is, the more I can help. You know what I mean? Man, I was out working in my garage in my yard yesterday. I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. So many mosquito bites. I am so itchy. It is obnoxious. I mean, DA was really never intended to be a VTT out of the box there, Tom. I'll be honest, it's intended to be a map maker and immersion tool, but I understand why you want it to be a VTT because it feels so full-featured and could work for one in person especially. Works great for tabletop play, projector play, and if it supported multiplayer and had Fog of War, it'd be ideal for online play. That being said, I don't think Dungeon Alchemist will ever have VTT-like features built into it. If we do address that, it would be after we leave early access, have delivered on all our Kickstarter promises, and likely spin up a whole new standalone product like Dungeon Alchemist VTT that would be paired with DA, be an optimal VTT to be able to utilize the most, versatile experience and all the art available in DA in a virtual tabletop experience. So back to what you were saying, Barry, if you go to the abstracts here, all of these abstracts, they're designed these green tiles. This one's pretty large. That's 4 squares. There's one that's actually a single square. This is just a floor tile size, right? But if you insert a blank PNG into that, I mean, you can insert anything into it, just a regular image if you want. But if you insert a blank zero, like no image in it, just nothing, it becomes invisible. But the benefit of this is it's also just a clear floor tile at that point. Okay, let's see if I can pull up that map from Rise. Let's look up maps, sort by most recent. What was the map called, Rise? ASAP, Andy, I am the community manager. So, I mean, I'm on the team. I talk to the devs. I contribute to the development and testing. But I don't actually write code or anything. So. But yes, I definitely share a tremendous amount of personal and community feedback with the devs, and it influences the development quite a bit. Root, that's a good question, actually. That's a very good question. So Dungeon Alchemist started development way before generative AI hit the market and became like this stigma that most people don't care for, and I understand why they don't, because a lot of generative AI was developed unethically. So first and foremost, Dungeon Alchemist's AI was developed ethically. None of the art or maps or anything used in the development or training or data sets for the AI were public. All of it was internal, our own internal data sets, our own internal maps and art. We have a team of artists that make all the assets used in Dungeon Alchemist for the AI room generation or environment creation. Secondly, the AI in Dungeon Alchemist is nowhere near like generative AI. It's kind of a dumb AI. It's more like procedural AI, and it's a very much focused on environment and room creation. So at no point were any public assets or maps used in training the AI, and at no point will it be in the future. So the development team developed all of the AI's data sets and trained it internally using maps we made internally with assets we made internally. So from top to bottom, it was very ethically sourced and created. When we do offer, the ability to import your own assets from, your own collection or download them from the workshop, but none of those assets are ever used in our AI training ever or in the room generation. Only our personal created assets in our development process are used for that. So I hope that answers your question, Root. Too bad they... Awesome. There they are. Perfect. Honestly, this map is running a little slow. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can fix it. There we go. We actually very much respect, the art community, our devs. One of our lead devs actually has an art background. He graduated with like an art degree. He very much has a respect for artists and the arts. And like from top to bottom, there is... yeah, they do have a very much like a sincere respect for artists and also development. We're an indie team of less than 10 people, so it's not like we're a huge conglomerate developer with hundreds of thousands of people on the team. So we also understand what it's like to be the little guy, I guess you could say. We definitely wouldn't want our work stolen or used in that regard, right? So we feel what it's like to be there. Blue Mage, the resizing and trial and error. Remember those templates, you can download them from our website and they're the exact size that the image needs to be and shows the safe areas so you can lay it over like a top layer and see where your image needs to be underneath like a stencil. So the trial and error, I mean, once you use those templates, it really gets rid of a lot of it. But every image needs to be at least... well, the base template of the PNG, if it's 1024 by 1024 squared pixels, it's ideal. No worries, Root Walla. If you have any other questions, let me know. Was there any questions I missed a bit ago? Okay, let's check this bad boy out. I'm gonna zoom up. Let's pump this bad boy up. Wow, impressive. I love that we're getting some of these cool, like, walled structures. You made some neat little crenulations here. I love the half walls used up here to make, like, barricades. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen brick walls used in this way to make crenulation, so honestly, I think that's really original and neat. Uh-oh, that one window's backwards. So these windows, I believe they had like a kind of a nickname like loopholes, right? The arrow slit room like windows. And one side had this big opening where you could kind of navigate your bow at different angles, but the other side was a thin slit. So you always want the inside to have that angled piece, because that's where your archers would be and have a lot more angle of opportunity to shoot outward. Anyway. Trying to understand the shape here. So it's a 7x7 to start. And you just pull the corners in. Oops, made a mistake. I generated it. Silly Mac. Undo. One moment. So if you grab these corners here, got to find that right distance, right? Pull them in for that stop sign feel. But it's a 7x7 room to get this. Like, it'd be cool to kind of figure out all the different room sizes to get these cool shapes. Yep, neat. Little hallways there. Our Discord is honestly a great resource, great place to be, because not only is it kind of our largest grouping of our community, but you can spin up a support or a question thread any time of the day. Myself, devs, moderators, or other community members will hop in and answer your questions. There's places to chat with other GMs and kind of bounce ideas off each other. So if you have like an idea for a map or a homebrew or anything like that, chat with some other people and see what they think about it. Additionally, we share, news and announcements, teasers there. So anything upcoming and, informative is usually shared there first. I really like these little sheds here, like the little stables. Got like a farrier here. Interesting. Like just a simple structure. Very good use of the space. Hey, Cryptical, thank you for the kind words. Much appreciated. ASAP Andy, let me make sure I understand what you're saying here. Trying to learn how to pull a wall on another. Is there a tab I can go to? Pull a wall on another. Are you trying to go up another level? Are you trying to build a room within a room? Sorry, I'm not really sure exactly what you're trying to do here. Do you mean go up another level and add walls on top of walls like you're seeing here? Well, guess I'll show you. So when you generate a new map, right, in Dungeon Alchemist, it doesn't matter the environment. However, if you want to be able to have basements and above ground levels, make sure it's a terrain-based biome, i.e., forest, desert, something. But if it's dark parchment or green screen, those are non-terrain biomes. Those can only have verticality, no basements. So starting with this, you generate your first floor, right? Let's say I just wanted like a wizard tower. Generate this first section, and before I click generate, I'm going to shape it, give it some kind of rounded walls here on the edge. Once on this side of it. And I hit generate, right? Uh-oh. I had none of these things turned on. Give me a second. I'm going to regen. I had my AI settings disabled, so it was generating with nothing but floors. That was from a previous session. Ignore that. So at this point, if I wanted a basement or an upper floor, you can use this widget on the right to go up a level or down. And then it shows you the floor plan of the area above. If you're down or if you're up above, you can see the roofing, which is auto-generated based on the room type. At this point, if I wanted to add rooms on top, I could either just match the shape, draw the exact shape on top of here, and then generate it so it just go up one level. You could, at this point, you know, which is pretty typical. At this point, it just adds a new level for you. And in here, you can partition these off into new rooms. So they're just small little sections inside. It doesn't have to all be one big floor, right? You get the idea. Now, if you wanted different shapes on top of this one, you don't have to draw the same shape. In fact, you could overlap and have it come out to here and have little diagonal cuts and round bites and all sorts of weird things. You could go to different rooms, do a balcony. Excuse me. So essentially, you have all these room types. You can generate them in tandem with each other and on top of each other. And you can keep going up levels and keep generating more and more above. For the most part, it's essentially just building a room on top of a room. Excuse me for that sneeze. The only way you can do the tipped view, these different camera views and stuff, is if you're in DA. Once you've exported it as an image or a looped video, then it's only that top down like a video. It's that same effect you have when you're like jumping from a touch screen to a computer and you try to touch the screen and zoom in and out and you're like, oh wait, this isn't a touch screen. You're used to having the full effect of being able to move and manipulate your map in the Mapmaker. But when you're playing, you can't do that. It's all top down. So if you want to have that full effect, you'd have to play inside of a Dungeon Alchemist map. Essentially turn on your grid, right? And then disable the UI. At which point, oh, you have this neat little top-down view. Or you could leave on the UI and move around like this. ASAP, I hope I'm helping to a degree. By the way, we have a tutorial of this on our YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. Released it like a week and a half ago that kind of walks through the basics of multi-level. There are some hotkeys for the multi-level widget. It's plus and minus. You don't have to click it every time if you don't want to. You can just hit the plus key or the minus key to jump up and down. If that makes any sense. Yeah, you can make a real castle and connect the floors with stairs for sure. There's some great examples of castles already on the workshop that have been shared. Let's show you most recent because those will be the multi-level, true multi-level maps, right? Find one. A couple shared like the week we launched. This grand cathedral, fortress. Stand by. Trying to find one of a couple of them that were put up here on the workshop. There's already been a bunch of maps launched, which is great. There's a little 2 towers connecting. That's pretty cool. Let us see. I'm getting close to where the castles were. Here's one. Crimson Bastion. Pretty cool. Balconies are definitely a good way to like improve the overall exterior of your buildings. A balcony can add a lot of flair without, you know, really doing a lot of changes. I think the entire community hit a well of inspiration with this update, Mondu, and just started posting maps. This thing is insane, right? Look at the back here. Like a little pit underneath with a sarlacc or something going on. Tom, I think ultimately, you know, I agree with what you want to try and do, but remember at the end of the day, Dungeon Alchemist is a map maker first and not a virtual tabletop. So a lot of these things you're wanting are features that weren't really promised in our Kickstarter or planned. Though, like I said, with time, I do think we'll launch a standalone app that will supplement Dungeon Alchemist to the T. As much as I know you would love it to be kind of catered specifically to your use case, unfortunately, I don't know if that'll be the case in our development road plan. I know, it doesn't hurt to dream. And also, I appreciate your insight and like these suggestions and feedback. I just want to make sure you know that, like, at the end of the day, I don't foresee Dungeon Alchemist ending up being like a multi-tool map maker VTT all in one. Because when you start adding a lot of stuff like that, I think it starts adding like tech creep, feature creep that makes things not run optimally. Does that make sense? Token vision, interesting. That's really cool. I love this build. This was made actually by someone in our art team. I believe it was made by Aiko. She was playing around with the update before it went live and made this. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Stairs going there from level to level. It is amazing, isn't it, Mosey? How are you doing today, by the way? Goodness, can you all hear that jet? Or is my mic muting it like you're not hearing it? Shaking my whole house. Second to last session of your campaign? No! That's so cool, though, that you're, like, hitting that milestone. You're almost done, but at the same time, it's sad, I bet. You're, like, wrapping it up, right? So I will say this right now, there's a bug in DA, and I honestly, I didn't realize this was a bug. At first, I thought the update was just kind of required a lot of oomph to run. And I noticed when you load a map for the first time, any map, legacy or new maps, they run really sluggish until you open the settings menu and close it. You don't even have to change a setting. You just open settings, click settings, and then close it. And then it runs better. This is a really weird bug the devs are investigating, but most of the dev team is out of town right now on vacation. When they get back, they'll fix it up. So as for now, it's a really simple fix. If you're noticing a map's running really sluggish when you open it, just open settings and close them. So transitioning levels to stairs, remember, when you put in a staircase, it'll dynamically cut a hole in the room above. So it's best to not decorate the floor above and then put in the staircase below, because you could delete some work, right? If anything, my recommendation, your workflow should adjust to these changes so you don't end up deleting your hard work. Start by laying out your floor plan, getting your stair paths put in. Where are they going to be? How are they going to transition to the floors above, right? Here we have a nice spiral stair transitioning from the floor above or floor below to the floor above. Great transition there. Here we have 2 of those same spiral stairs on the backside transitioning to this balcony level above. Great transitional space, and from the outside makes this nice little dome set piece exterior that looks really interesting and draws attention to the overall design. Stair placement also has to follow some kind of logic, or often you'll get complaints, you know, either from other map makers or possibly, you know, your players. Remember, a staircase can't just be the second you walk inside of a door. Typically, when you go in a home and there's a staircase, if there is one right when you walk in a door, it's at least a few feet back as a centerpiece. Something to be like, hey, here's our stairs going up. But it's usually like 5 to 10 feet from the door, not directly at it. You know what I mean? Acerod, we do have cave generation. We have an entire biome like actually dedicated to it. MC Escher was an impressionist, if I recall. Or what was his art? Abstract? That's right, abstract. He wasn't trying to be literal, his interpretations of art. So Acerod, when you're generating a new map, if you go to the cave biome, you can generate it as a solid slab that you can carve manually, or you could set it to a variety of different cave systems. And it'll generate with a whole cave system automatically. We have terrain carving tools to raise and lower terrain, flatten terrain, shape it. Cave carving tools are a little bit faster. Oh, man. I see comments like these sometimes and I'm confused because I swear chests, many of them can be opened and you can just put items in them already. Essentially just disable collisions, grab any item you want to place in it, place it inside, close the chest. And it moves as a unit. No, I mean like a forest on top of the ground and a cave for underground. Okay, yeah, you could do that. Now that we have multi-level, that's totally viable, actually. This map isn't ideal for that, but you would probably start in the forest biome, right? And then you would shape some sort of tunnel and surround it with rocks and go underground. You can definitely go below ground, though you do have to generate some sort of structure to access this underground level effectively, so you could kind of get around it by generating a single square structure going down and then manipulating the space underground. So there are ways around it. You know, it's probably okay. I haven't tried to make one, but I do have to ask, is there a particular reason it needs to be 12-sided? I mean, at the end of the day, you're the DM. You could make the room any shape and narratively would fit whatever you need it to, unless it had to be 12-sided for like a very specific purpose for part of the story. I get caught in that same like trap sometimes. I'm like, I got to build this exact shape. Oh, wait, I'm telling the story. It could be whatever. You know what I mean? So if they're, see, there you go. You got to get a 12-month fitting. See there, that makes sense. I've never tried to make a 12-sided. That is a good question. Offhand, does anyone in the community know? Have you successfully made a 12-sided room? I do feel like there are limitations to the room generation tools we have. Like for instance, you can't get a circle over a certain size, certain that you can't do certain, you know, shapes and whatever unless it's, and then by 12-sided, I mean equal 12 sides, not just 12 random faces. I'm going to cut that grave there and we'll put like freestanding would probably be the best way though, my friend. Freestanding walls for sure. They're under objects. If you go to structural, there are these bad boys. And these can be rotated on any axes, right? They can be raised up and down if your collisions are off. They can be resized. You have so much more versatility with those. And then just use like the floor tool to make the floor and then wrap around it with those walls and then cover the outside with like rocks and plants, any floor that might be hanging out still. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Man, I love to think that like the room tool is like a catch-all, but it's still the freestanding walls do have their purpose. They do solve a lot of problems. And some graves here. Thinking like just a little like pizza size plot with some like a tree and some flowers. Honestly, probably okay. I'm glad you're here tuning into the streams then. These are the best place to learn. Like if you're able to watch and ask questions, these streams are AMA. So you can learn so much during them. I can show you live or pull up an example, or multiple people in the chat usually dogpile in and try and answer the question too. So it's like a great resource. I personally like, okay, so like we live in this tutorial age, right? Where everyone wants like a guide or a tutorial, a walkthrough, right? But I find those so impersonal. Many of them get outdated really quick because software is ever changing, constantly in a state of flux, especially Dungeon Alchemist, which is early access. So they get outdated quickly, right? I love these one-on-one or like these stream sessions where I can teach people in a one-on-one kind of personal environment and answer their questions directly. Because often I cover the things you need in a more direct manner and get to the direct like root of the problem, right? Instead of watching hours of tutorial videos to sift through and find what you're looking for, or tons of forums and Reddit and whatever, when you could just come ask me. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, that kind of personal touch has been lost by a lot of companies. And so people expect to go look for a tutorial or a guide or something to help them get through it, when in the end of the day, you could just come ask Mac. And I know that that doesn't solve all problems, but it does actually help a lot with a lot of issues. It's a little bit different than what you may be used to or accustomed to in the modern like corporate era, corporate sphere, where every company's like, go check out our guidebook, volume A-6C247. And if it's not there, then submit a trouble ticket and then watch this video on our website with this link. It's like, cool, that's great and all that there's an exact fix in this weird bureaucratical boondoggle, but I'd just rather ask someone and get an answer. Like, I miss being able to go to like an old hardware store and ask like an old dude like how to do something and be like, oh, you need this tool and this screw and this thing and you could fix it. That's awesome, Mondu. Anyway, it's probably okay. Sorry for going on a tangent there, but I just want you to know anytime you need help, I'm here for you, whether it's on the streams or in Discord, social media. And if I'm not around, our community is always there to help. So it's kind of a great place to dive into this map making adventure. You got a lot of support if you need it. Mondu, that is really cool. I'm glad to hear the abstracts are exceeding your expectations. That's like what the devs want to know for sure, right? Okay, so this is where it's going to get a little hinky. Got to figure out how to do this, and I'm thinking just rotate, right? Line it up. First one has to be really good. So, oh my gosh, have y'all been seeing the videos of like the dead tourism here in Vegas? Like apparently like down on the strip, it's like dead. I may want to actually go back to the strip now because no one's there. Like so much nicer to go out when it's not busy as a local. Honestly, Mondu, you do a great job for your players. You have such a passion in your content creation, your map making, and this community in general. Like you've really I don't know. I love your passion for map making and DMing as a whole. I respect it. You've got to grind. You know what I mean? No, the summers are usually packed too because there's tons of pools and water activities and things to do. I've been down on the strip when it was 115 degrees. There was thousands of people walking up and down the strip. It has nothing to do with the heat. People still come here. What it is a combination of price gouging, and people are really feeling it in their pocketbook, not just from price gouging, but I'd say just the overall economy. A lot of people are struggling at like the, middle rung. People who don't necessarily rely on the stock market for everything. I remember I went to Vegas. I live in Vegas, but I went down to the strip with my parents because they were visiting, and I walked them around and gave them like a tour and stuff. It was so packed. I hated it. The pool that at the hotel they were staying in, it was like people packed in every square inch, and I just thought to myself, this is not a fun vacation. Like you're paying for this, and it's just they literally are cramming you in like sardines. But now it just feels like a dead town. I don't know what to think about it. I really want to go drive down and investigate it for myself because, it's only like a few minutes away. Jim, thank you for appreciating the tangent. Honestly, like, I don't know. I come from an era like when I feel like customer service is kind of dead, actually. Like customer service used to be this thing that like all companies strive to offer, and you could call and talk to a person on the phone and get a question answered. Maybe this is the millennial hill I'll die on, but I hate that I can't call like a grocery store and just talk to a human being that works there. They've got 100 employees. No one can answer the phone. It's all automated and goes to some call center somewhere else. I hate that. I hate it. Like, you're running a business and you are like just trying to avoid your customers at all costs, and you only want them when they're providing you with money. That is not a good relationship between the two entities, you know? Like, that doesn't seem sustainable. Seems almost abusive to a degree. Tiki bars on the Strip are crazy, Roan. Have you ever been to those like bars that they sell like those big foot-long drinks? They're like a big tube, like a big frozen marg. I think they're called Big Fat Tuesdays or something like that. Big Fat Tuesdays. Those are great. If you're on vacation, I encourage it. I don't know. It's gotten a little bit rough here is all I'm saying. Oops. Happened, that like froze and didn't place that one there, and then I'm going to kind of spread these out a little bit. Woo-wee. Really, Square? Who was it? Which company is it? I would love to know because I'm a big 3D printing enthusiast. Honestly, I wouldn't for a while, Roan. Like, I wouldn't even blame you. What do you think I should put here, y'all? I was thinking just like a tree or some shrubs or something. Maybe a statue. Okay, if you wanted a map Spanish villa type home with the courtyard in the middle. Let me think. So draw the entire rectangle shape, right? And then remove a section from the center, or just draw another room in the center that is like a courtyard type. So you'd have the whole rectangle shape, right? Oops, this is not a good space for this. Let me find a bigger space. Let me find a bigger space to draw a rectangle. So you have, let's say this is the entire home, like the structure. Then you could hold the control key and then make a dead space in the center somewhere, right? Like a courtyard. And then generate it. Or you could use any of the other room types that happen to be like an outdoor one. Like we have these topiary gardens for the center here. Could be one type. So you generate this as one room. Oops, I made the whole outside a topiary garden. Big mistake. So you would make this like the mansion, right? The exterior. Let's call this the, shall we? Rate it. And then the interior would just be like a topiary garden. And then you could just, oops, I didn't generate that as. And then if you go up levels, then you would see this down in the courtyard below. This is just a primitive example, of course, but you get the idea. And remember, inside of this space, you can cordon off different rooms. So once you have the master space kind of idea, the main floor plan, then start setting aside rooms, bathrooms, etc. There are wall-mounted notice boards and signs. There's plenty of signs. There's these right here. This one here can wall mount. If your collisions are on, it'll snap to a wall. And then you can insert custom images in. So you could put like a custom image of your players or like a custom notice on there, a document. You can do this with paintings. You can do this with signs on a building, custom business signs, stands, papers, documents, all sorts of stuff. Roan, I've actually done that, surprisingly. Oh, you know? Okay, good. I was going to say, wow, small world, but I've actually done that. Oops, I have collisions on. I'm like, why is this fighting me all of a sudden? I really like how this is progressing. It's starting to fill out. Let's put some plants here. Actually, you know what? I'll do like dressing later. I'm mostly just doing floor paths and like fences and graves at the moment. Oh my goodness. I'm really loving how this is progressing. Do some more of these. Is something like this here. Rotate. If you're trying to get your fences to align over distances like this and you need like a little gap between them, what I like to do is put another fence piece in there. Line that up, right, where I want this to be. I'll delete that. Oh, that's really great, Roan. I remember you telling me about the preparation and stuff for that. That's really cool. Glad to hear it. Are they enjoying it? And are you doing separate games for them, or how does it work with the 12 players? Hey, Lila, welcome back. Guafa says, I spent 16 hours last week converting multiple maps of floor plans into a single building. Big shout out of the people in Discord, the help they gave. That's awesome, Guafa. Did you share it on the workshop? I'd love to take a look. In fact, okay, let's spend the last little bit of the stream looking at maps on the workshop that people have shared recently. I know someone else said there was another map they wanted me to check out. Let me know what it was again. We'll take a look. I'm going to kind of finish out this line of graves and then we'll move on to that. So these graves have a variant option to them. There's hundreds of variants. If you press tab before you lay down the grave's location, it will shift between those variants. You just can have tons of different, like, diversity in your grave styles now. Called Crimson Spears Guildhall. That's awesome. I gotta check that out, Guafa, for sure. We're doing one-shots mostly and have about 3 tables running. That's so cool, man. Oh my gosh, can I tell y'all some good news? I think my table might be jumping to multi-session per month. We've been playing for 8-9 months now at 1 session per month, and I think the group finally wants more. We're so close to it. I can feel it. I can taste it. It's rough, but it was... So, here's the thing. It's a group of my homies from the years, over the years. My wife and I's friends from years past, like all these past decades. And it's so hard for us to get together because we all live in different places, right? Different states, you know, have different places in our lives. And this was a compromise. I wanted to hang out with them and talk to them more. And I was like, I miss you guys. What if we got together for D&D, but it was just once a month? Do you think y'all could spare 1 day a month for a few hours to hang out, socialize, catch up, play D&D together? And pretty much everybody was on board for that because I think most adults can commit to the 1 day a month thing, right? So they basically, that was kind of the initial thing. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, let's get them started on the once a month. Eventually they'll want to play more because it's going to be good. Our DM's great. We have a lot of fun. Sessions have been going for 8-9 months now. And I kind of soft pitched the idea of multiple sessions per month. And 2 of the players were like, well, I do want, 4 of the players want to do it. And 2 of them were like, I kind of do, but I need to wait and figure some things out first in a month or so. I'll get back to you. So they're kind of all there, but we just need to make sure everything aligns, right? Anyway, I've got my birthday coming up in a few days. It was my son's birthday a few days ago. We decided we wanted some extra D&D for our birthday, so we offered to buy a bonus session for the group, right? To just like, hey, let's get together one extra time this month. We'll cover it as long as we can find a day that everyone can agree on. And the group was like, oh, yes, we would love to. And so I know they're eager to play more. It's just a matter of like lining it up. Barry, don't worry, don't worry. We'll check it out, okay? Let me save and we'll jump into community maps. Save twice, right? To make sure it's nice. Let's go into browse maps. Got Raven's Orphanage here. Let's check it out. First one. We don't play in person. We only play online still. You know. Uh-oh. Failed to download map. Interesting. Never seen that happen before. I have never seen that happen before. How long ago did you upload that map? And have you made changes to it since you've uploaded it? You know, it's probably okay. Some people do that, mainly because they'd rather play as a group and not have to have one of their team be a DM and have to stress about that every session. So we actually pay a professional DM who handles all the session prep, production, story, and we essentially just show up and play. It's great. No one has to stress about DMing. No one has to pass the torch because they get burnt out. It is quite nice. And honestly, there's some great DMs out there that are high quality, top tier DMs that definitely deserve to be paid for their craft. I don't mind paying for D&D when it's on time every month. Always happens. Never has any scheduling issues. Always is great storytelling and never has any, like, you know, just everyone shows up. That's the big thing. I think because everyone pays, they always show up. We've never had anyone miss a session. There's a lot of pluses to it. I know it's like, what? Why would you pay for that? I've been playing since I was 8. I never paid for a session. That was my mentality at first, but here's the thing. I think every artist or artisan deserves to be paid for their craft if they can find the market, right? Or the audience. There are pros and cons, and I think the pros outweigh the cons sometimes. I met the DM through our community. He's a professional DM who streams on Twitch and runs quite a few sessions. It's his career. It's his job. All he does is professionally DM. And he uses Dungeon Alchemist maps. His name's GM Eric. Actually, he's on Twitch. Great guy. But he essentially, I kind of connected with him and networked with him and did a one-shot with him with my family. And it worked out so great. I loved his storytelling, loved his production. And then I started trying to line up a session with a group with him. And then we've been playing, like I said, the last 9 months. Really low stress game. Like, it's just show up and play once a month. It's really nice. Stairs are currently locked to the grid, Sorchin. It was kind of a caveat of them being able to function in the new multi-level structuring and have dynamic, you know, fitting to the rooms and floors around them. So unfortunately, yes, it is kind of, they are locked. They cannot be resized and rotated. And for those that were used to that, you know, in past builds, that's kind of frustrating to say the least. I brought this up with the devs that a lot of people aren't really, you know, some people understand it and understand why, but some people aren't vibing with the lack of choice. The devs have already committed to offering some sort of depreciated asset section or maybe a freestanding stairs or something, but keep in mind those won't seamlessly navigate and work as well as the current ones that are the multi-level dynamic stairs. Give me 1 minute, I'll get his link. Wafa, I'll pull yours up in a moment, okay, my friend? I don't know what's going on, Barry, but I cannot open your map. It's given me a bug. It's like saying I can't do it for some reason. Give me just 1 second. We'll try it in a minute, okay? Why am I having so much trouble pulling this up? My computer's being so weird at the moment. Stand by. His name is the Game Master Eric. I'm trying to pull up his Twitch, but I can't. That's his username. It's bugging out for me right now. My Twitch is acting really sluggish. But my apologies. Guafa, what was the name of the map again? Crimson Spears. Let's just search that. We're going to search it. There it is. There's the flavor. Roan, is everything all right? So I was talking to the devs, and there's a strong possibility we may, I don't know. I have a meeting with them soon, and I'm hoping that this meeting goes well, but there's a chance we might be expanding the stream to have more stream dates per month. And it would be not just map making potentially, but a campaign. I really, really would love to start doing a Dungeon Alchemist, almost like 100% Dungeon Alchemist campaign. How you doing? Welcome back, my friend. Sort of how I envision it is an ongoing campaign that kind of evolves with Dungeon Alchemist development, right? And additionally, I'd love for it to be, you know, like a showcase of all the things Dungeon Alchemist can do, but also a community event. And by that, I mean the community can kind of interact with the streams in fun ways. Not just like interactive buttons and stuff, but like maybe your maps could be featured in the campaign, or maybe we could have guests on the campaign as like guest players or NPCs, filled roles by actual people in our community, stuff like that. I'd love to get the devs and the art team involved too, to like have them on as players here and there if they, can, of course. This cutie little Spyro over here. Oh, really, Guafa? That's cool. Whoa, this is your guild hall? This is huge. What level is the guild? Blue Mage, you know what? I'm gonna track down an afro wig, and one of these days I will just do a start to finish Bob Ross themed. I will talk like Bob Ross the whole time and just make a map, a pretty little map. Pretty little mapsident. I've been considering incorporating my voiceover. Like, I used to do impressions and voiceover. I wanted to be a voiceover like actor when I was younger, and I never really found success. It stings a little bit talking about it, but the fact of the matter is, I felt I was pretty good at doing like impressions for a while, and I still kind of do them from time to time to just joke around. But once in a while, I'll bring out a voice on the stream, and y'all just think it's funny or really good, and so it encourages me a little bit, gives me hope. But part of me wants to try and like do some of those voices on stream just to be silly. That's exactly what I was going for, Lila. Maybe even pick themes from, with the damn challenge in tandem with the campaign. Does that make sense? Oh, I was gonna say, this has got to be a huge guild then. That is cool. Like, there is a lot of facilities here. Here, wait, I gotta check out the basement first. What we got going on here? Oh, it's just some objects that are sunken in like a well. Okay, there is no underground level. Got it. Maybe even do things like map bounties where we put out like a, something, we need a map with this aesthetic. Damn challenge is great, but it's a bi-weekly thing, so maybe we need something a little bit more readily available. I like it too. Really cool, Guafa. Does your campaign run like a West Marches or something? Nice, Lila. I'm glad you're up for the idea. I like this library a lot. Need a banister there, though. Did you cut out this third space? Because usually the spiral stairs only cut out 2. I'm assuming your token had trouble traversing the space, so you cut it out. That would be my guess. Yeah, the tokens didn't get resized to fit the stairs properly. They're all a little too large. So I scale them down a little bit before I start walking around. The devs didn't do a token test on their own stairs. Tisk tisk. Question. Did you know that you put a burnt roof on this building? Armory, very cool. Good. Were you going for it's been burnt, or are you going for that burnt style of roof or wood it where it like doesn't rot and doesn't get bugs and stuff? Isn't that like a form of carpentry in Japan where they like will fire a wood and smoke it and make it blackened and then it doesn't get like any type of bugs or anything in it? Hard shingles, that too. Probably just has a collider that doesn't allow you to pass through. Would you report it in the support forum in the Discord? That way we can track it. Nice, Caillou. I made a bastion too. Bastions are tricky because they're so size restrictive, right? Like you have to do certain size rooms and spaces. This is very, very, very cool, Guafa. Good job. Ah, nice. So it's an old structure. That's interesting. I like that. Jax, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Rain says, I love the new multi-layer. Absolutely brilliant. Been using DA for a Curse of Strahd campaign I'm running. I believe one of your colleagues, my friend, streams on Twitch the other week. Who is that? I know a lot of people who stream on Twitch, so let's talk about it. Who is it? Who is it, your friend? You got a name drop now. I like the little stable back here. Very cool base, Guafa. So I built a bastion, right? And I followed the bastion rules pretty much to the T. Like on sizes and room shapes and like availability. But we have a 6-person like group. So we were able to get pretty much every bastion special room type and basic room type because we coordinated together to overlap, right? But Bastion's internal spaces is very restrictive on what you can do with it. But the external spaces and like hallways and stuff, not so much. So like, this is the Bastion I made for my party. But here is a courtyard, which is a basic structure. Here is a parlor, dining room, kitchen, storage. I did a pantry. But yeah, here is that 16 square courtyard. I made it work. I just figure it'll get bigger with time. You know what I mean? in some spaces I combined rooms, like here is our library and this is our arcane study, and I thought, why can't they just share a space? So this is the middle area where they meet, and I just put like a little group, like boardroom type table where we can have a conference table, I guess you could call it. Caillou, you said you put up a bastion up on the workshop. Let's check it out. My brother's calling me 1 minute. I gotta just tell him I'm working. I'm back. Sorry about that. My brother, he bless him. He let's just say he has some learning challenges. He has epilepsy, and also he hit his head when he was younger and has just like a speech impediment and some problems overall. But anyway, he's a good guy, really good kid, really good person overall. Anyway, he was calling me to wish me happy birthday, right? Which my birthday is in a few days. So I was like, hey, he's like, no, it's to me, your birthday is before and after for a few days. And I was like, oh, I love you, bud. Thank you. He's a really good guy. Anyway, I just, we catch up and talk like once or twice a week. So it was good to hear from him. But unfortunately, gotta work still. We're streaming. So Caillou, what is the name of your bastion? I searched bastion. I'm not seeing your name on here. Hey, we'll see you later. It's probably okay. Said it was just called Bastion. Oh, here. Cube virus. Is that you, right? That's you, isn't it? That's your alt, if I recall. Okay, this is you. He still lives with my parents, my mom and my stepfather, because he can't live on his own. Him and I are only a couple years different apart, but growing up, his childhood was very different than mine. Because his epilepsy formed really young in his childhood, and it really kind of spiked his basically his development didn't match what it should be for most people his age. But honestly, he's a good guy though. Oh my gosh. So one of his passions, he loves Christmas lights, right? And the thing is he got it from me. When we were kids, my dad wasn't around. He was a deadbeat. And I wanted to have Christmas lights on our house every year. And my mom was working like 3 jobs. So I would pull out the Christmas lights and string them out, test them, and get up on the roof and put them on before my mom got home. Because if she saw me up on the roof, she'd freak out. So my brother loved to help me with Christmas lights, but I wouldn't let him up on the roof because he was young. I didn't want him to get hurt. But he would help me, string them up, hand them to me, hand me tools. And he is so passionate about it now because it's like something from his youth that he's really latched onto. And he loves putting up Christmas lights, but I guess he does it so much. He got hired by like a neighbor in our old neighborhood who puts up tons of Christmas lights, like covers every ounce of their lawn, every ounce of their house. And that house was in like a TV show showing off crazy Christmas light houses. And my brother was on TV because of it. Like this was a last year before. He's so proud of it though. But every time he calls me, he's like, it's almost Christmas light season. It's almost Christmas light season. Blake, I'm so excited to go out and do Christmas lights again. He loves it. Honestly, he is such a good kid. I don't know. Just imagine like, you know, someone who's an adult, but they're basically kind of like around the age of like a 12-year-old. You know what I mean? And he tries so hard to fit in and be an adult and do things like, and honestly, just I respect how much passion he has and persistence. He is like honestly so much more of a man than me than I'll ever be. People who play D&D 5 times. Dyson, stop making me jealous. Okay, what do we got here? Whoa, this is quite a facility. So did they do like separate bastions, or is this just kind of a big group compound area? Oh. Love it. We got a little cellar here. Let's check that out. How many players are in the group? Caillou? I love that. Like an open air, below ground cellar, passive cooling. Brilliant. 6 players, level 8. Nice. Honestly, yeah, I'm very proud of him. I know he struggles every day and has to deal with a lot, you know? So, you know, I try to be there for him when I can. And also, you know, like even when he just calls and has nothing to say, I'll just sit there and listen to him for like 20 minutes and, you know, let him talk. Because I think often people in my family and his friends and other people don't really give him a chance sometimes. Oh, I love this right here, the little cave. Caillou, let me teach you a trick really quick to give it some, like, a neat little immersion here. So if you go to the objects here, right, and go to abstracts. Abstracts are one of my favorite objects. Yeah, a storehouse, right? I'm going to put this back in here, but first I'm going to insert. You could either just click black and make it dark, or you can insert a full solid black image into it, right? And then just shrink that into the background there a little bit. That look feel like it just gets way dark and deep in there all of a sudden. Anyway, part of a cave that makes it fun is giving it a little bit of a scary edge to it, right? I think that looks awesome. Is this a garden right here? Or 2 gardens, it looks like? I like this a lot, though. So you did more like an open, like, setup, right? Where you have areas to walk between all the different areas, the rooms and different special like facilities and stuff. When I did my bastion, I packed it all in like sardines because I assumed the spaces all had to be connected. But I like how you did this, where it's just like tons of like, there's like walkways between areas. Cool. I like it. That's a neat little garden. Are they running it for healing or poison right now, or what are they doing with it? Our group has 2 gardens, and both of them are running healing right now. So if you have a garden in your bastion, you can set the hirelings to harvest, and they'll harvest enough material to craft either 10 healing kits or a single potion of healing per week, if they're doing that particular skill. If they are doing like poisons, they'll harvest enough for 2 antitoxins or a single poison once per week. So I'm actually playing 5e myself, but our group convinced our DM, who normally only plays 5e and doesn't play 2024, to try out bastions in our game. So we added the bastion mechanic just to try it out and see what it's like. And he's interested in learning 2024 and kind of getting a feel for it. So this is a good way to test the waters, so to speak. I don't think I saw that, actually, Atlam. Who asked that? Who was it? On TikTok? Someone asked something? I must have missed it. Kylie, you know what? That's a good question. Let's chat after stream. Do you want to DM me and we'll chat about it, okay? I'll take a look at your channel, take a look at your content, and we can discuss it. We do partner up with content creators, DMs all the time, streamers, content creators of all types. I've done varied, partnerships and other things like that. Collaborations, we would call it more often than not. If you're interested, just reach out to me, and that goes for anyone here. If you are a content creator, streamer, YouTuber, TikToker, whatever, if you are doing content and you use Dungeon Alchemist in your content, I would love to chat with you, both to see what you're doing and learn more about it and try and support you in any way I can, both by, liking, favoriting, sharing, viewing your streams, but also additionally, on occasion, we do host like giveaways and things on other channels. Very case by case, though. It's all, based on very certain criteria that have to be met. Discord's a great way to reach out to me. If anyone, if you are in our Discord, you feel free to DM me if you have questions or content creator questions or concerns or collaboration, ideas, etc. That doesn't mean we can work with everyone. We try to, but given the size of our small indie company and our resources, we obviously can't work with everyone. But it's a case-by-case thing, and we try to listen to everyone and see what they have to offer before we say no. So I think in that regard, we're professional, and we always try our best to collaborate where we can. Hey, no worries, Kylie. I appreciate you even asking. And I'm sorry I missed your question right away there. I'm monitoring like 7 different chats because I'm multi-streaming right now. And TikTok got away from me for a minute there, so my apologies. Caillou, I really like your facility here. It's very cool. Swamp, once a room is placed, you cannot move it unless it's in your undo queue, meaning if you control Z until it's no longer a building, and then it's just a floor plan, and then you can move it. While it's a floor plan, you can move it, right? If you draw a floor plan, rotate it, shape it, you can... Oops, can't rotate it on the second problem. So if you have a floor plan, you can rotate a floor plan, you can move a floor plan. Once it's generated, though, you can only undo it to move it. In the future, we hope to allow you to move buildings and whatnot. I'm hoping Fun with Objects Part 2 will incorporate that. Who knows? But like I said, you can raise, you can lower, you can rotate, you can shape the floor plan all before generating. It's after it's the problem. If you undo, it'll go back to the shaping of it, and then you can move it over one square. So technically, you should be able to do something like this, right? Generate it. Go back, it'll be at this shape, and then you can move it over a square. Yeah, you can do diagonals, Guafa. You can do round, both convex and concave bites and diagonal bites, or diagonal cuts. See this dot in the corner there? Every corner of a building will have these dots. You grab it with a left click. If you pull to the side and then drag towards the center, it will make a diagonal cut. If you just pull towards the center, it makes a round cut. If you pull away, it does a bite. Glittery Witchery, thank you. Welcome to the stream, and how are you doing today? Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I'm sure the devs would love to hear that too. I'll pass it on. Are your players loving it is the real question. Lizzie, I'm not sure what you mean by that question. Have they been fixed? How were they broken before the update? You mean you wish you could move them more freely? Is that what your question was? The stairs are kind of the way they are kind of here to stay because the stairs were perfectly designed for multi-level structures, i.e. they fit between the flooring, they generate a hole in the room below or above. These are things that were intended in their design. Those stairs are here to stay. However, we've heard a lot of feedback from our community about the lack of functionality with stairs, i.e. being able to rotate them, resize them, merge them, put them into things like the ground, like have ruins, etc. We understand that's a lacking thing, and it was an oversight to kind of remove that functionality altogether. I'm hoping they'll add them back as some sort of feature soon. Wim and Carl, who are our lead devs, have both said that they're looking into solutions. One is possibly having a depreciated asset section, i.e. assets that are grandfathered older, been removed from DA, but then they'll be put into their own section with kind of a disclaimer that, hey, these are older assets. They may have different functions that don't fully, meld with multi-level, something like that. I personally suggested that they just add a freestanding stairs section. So before we used to have up and down stairs in stairs. We had the stair section that was upstairs and the stair section that was down. Pretty much they were carbon copies of each other, but the downstairs made pits and sunk into the ground, and they were a set shape and size. They couldn't be resized. Upstairs were like, you could do whatever you wanted with them. They could be downstairs if you wanted them to. They could be upstairs. They could be rotated, resized, reshaped. For the most part, they were much more versatile. They were essentially the equivalent of freestanding walls. In my mind, we should have a normal stair menu for the multi-level stairs that dynamically cut holes and are ideal for multi-level structures. And then another stair menu that's just freestanding stairs that has carbon copies of all these stairs, but you can resize them, you can lift them up and down, you can merge them together and have the creative freedom you're used to. Hopefully that'll be, I don't know if that'll be a hot fix that they add that in or if it'll be in Fun with Objects Part 2 that they bring it back. Who knows? Yeah, I think, roofing having its own top menu, those stairs possibly should have had a top menu because they do influence quite a bit of stuff. Though the top menu is starting to get rather large. I think they were hesitant about adding a roofing tab to the top menu. When I was first demoed roofing and played with it for a few weeks, I sat down with the devs. This was like 6 months ago. And they're like, do you think it's ready for release? And I'm like, no. There was a lot of things I wanted to see changed. I'm like, I don't even know how to find roofing half the time. It took me like a week to find it because it was buried in this third tab as a roofing section here. And there was like 20 roofs inside of a drop-down menu that opened up. And I was like, honestly, it should be just like flooring. It should have its own menu where all the roofing options are. And then they kind of had to go, and I was like, there was no angled roofing. It was only flat at the time. I was like, so what about angled roofing? They're like, well, we're working on that. I'm like, okay. So yeah, when we came back to the drawing board, there was so much more to offer with this top menu. That's interesting feedback, though, for sure. I love this tower, by the way, over here in your Bastion, Caillou. Very cool. Trying to figure out how I get inside. What is going on? Oh, I'm in the roof menu, so... It's a neat little bedroom here. And balcony. I like the tower on the tree. Really clever. Hey, Miss Rattata, I see you lurking. What are you doing? Very cool build. I enjoyed the towers you made. Really nice. Like, very unique, neat builds. Ooh. That like a little, is that a person who flies room? Or is that like a griffin rest? Or what is this? A flying mounts base? This is very cool. Huh. I was like, how did that stair get up there? Oh, there was a ladder leading up to it. The Owling Rogues room? Nice. All right, everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot be checking out any more maps today because the stream has run its course. We're now almost 20 past our allotted time for the day. So we need to wrap it up. I had a lot of fun hanging out with y'all, but unfortunately, we got to end the stream. I'll answer that question really quick that just dropped in chat, and then we're going to wrap up, okay? So Glittery Witch, we do have a few tools to speed up object placement. First and foremost, you can always quickly duplicate an object by pressing shift when you place it. So if you hold shift, it automatically duplicates, speeding up the process of, say, placing similar objects over and over again. Another is the object brush, which is located under the object panel, the second tab here. You can either select from the objects available, or you can turn any brush, any object, so say this one, this shelf, into an object brush, and then paint them en masse. They do have varied controls. You can set them as a grid, for instance, and they'll paint, well, typically, at least, in some sort of fashion or manner. You can set them in like a string, etc., and give them all sorts of varied controls on how they paint. Now, if you don't want a bunch of randomly resized things, the object brush probably isn't ideal. That said, I do think what you're looking for is more like a group select, right? Or maybe, is that what you're trying to do? Like grab a whole bunch of items and move them en masse? Or are you just trying to line them up more easily when you're building? Want some clarification. Thank you, Lila, for being here. Been having a lot of crashes with the update. David, why don't you drop into our Discord after the stream, spin up a support thread, and we can start tracking your issues relative to your hardware and other things so we can see what's going on. Obviously, crashes aren't normal, so if we could track it and see, you know, your logs, the maps, images, crash logs, stuff like that will help tremendously. So group select and move is definitely coming. I don't know if group select and copy is coming though. That is a good suggestion. This update, Fun with Objects, it was split into two parts because it was so large and had so much in it. It would have been delayed till the end of the year had we not released it in two parts. And a lot of object related features and quality of life improvements were squozen in the first part, but a lot more will be in the second part. There's a lot of things we're hoping to add in the update to improve object interactivity. So who knows what that will entail, but things like that would seem like kind of like they're on the menu, given the suggestions and things on our current roadmap and under development, etc. The devs, for instance, want to give the ability to rotate an object on any axes, be able to group objects and move them as a group, be able to copy and paste that grouping from one place to another place on the map, or be able to copy and paste it between maps. So ideally, you'd be able to save groupings as what's called a variant. Internally, we have these objects, many objects I'm sure you've seen come pre-decorated, right? Like this table here, it's pre-decorated. If I press tab on it, it'll shift between this decoration and another one. And these were pre-decorated by our team. They're called variants. Every object that comes pre-decorated, more often than not, there's 4 or 5 variants for it you can cycle between by pressing tab before you finalize the placement. Otherwise, every time you place the object, it'll randomly shift between those variants to give you kind of the illusion of more diversity, if you will, especially when generating rooms with these objects. So in this update, we're hoping to give you the ability to create your own variants, i.e. place a table, place the objects on the table, save that grouping of objects and share it with other people on the Steam Workshop, or copy and paste it between maps. So maybe a tent that's pre-decorated, or a whole 10 by 11 room that's fitted with all of the stuff inside of it. So you essentially can save that grouping of objects and stamp it in any room that size. I don't know. Things like that could be very cool and also very helpful for our community. That being said, I haven't really seen an example of it in the development side of things, so I don't know if it'll be available or even made. It's kind of always a development challenge to try and figure out how to make it work effectively and easy before they decide to release it. So if we had that map to look at and your logs, that would help tremendously, my friend. Go ahead and spin up a thread in the support forum in our Discord, and we can guide you through looking for logs and all the information we need. That way the devs can look at it, because crashes are usually something really easy for them to fix if they have all the information in front of them. Otherwise, like right now with just text, I liken it to kind of like fixing a car in the dark without a light. You know the parts are there and you may know how to fix it, but without that light, that visual feedback, it's really hard to determine exactly what the problem is, right? Glittery Witchery, by the way, you're welcome to join our Discord. Great place for new members of our community. That goes for everyone new here, new and old. If you're not a member of our Discord, I highly recommend it. We have our stream schedule there, so you can see all our upcoming streams and in our event log and RSVP to them and check them out when they go live. You get a reminder. We have areas for GMs to chat and share ideas, share their homebrew, encounters, maps, etc. Bounce ideas off of each other. We have areas where people share their maps and 3D models that they've imported to the Steam Workshop. Areas where you can get support or just hang out and chat. And then lastly, we share upcoming information, news, teasers, announcements. When they happen, they're usually shared in our Discord first. Highly recommend checking it out. Before we wrap up the stream today, quick bit of information. Obviously, we discussed the Discord. Remember, Dungeon Alchemist is on sale. We're on sale through the 24th. I'm sure a lot of you have taken advantage of that sale. Some of you are new to our community today, so that's probably why you took advantage of it, was that sale. For those that didn't know, we're on sale through the 24th, 20% off. That's usually the best deal you can get on Dungeon Alchemist. I've been with the team 3+ years, never seen it better deal than 20% off. So if you are on the fence looking to get it and you've been watching the stream, you're like, maybe I should get it, now is the time to buy, because otherwise you won't get that good of a deal for a few months. Last bit of info, we host several streams per week, okay? Monday, Mapmaker Monday is one of those streams. We didn't do much map making today. A lot of questions and a lot of maps we checked out today. Don't worry. I don't mind getting distracted and discussing your needs and looking at your maps over building a map. So not a big deal. Every Wednesday, we have what's called office hours. That's an stream exclusive to our Discord, because Discord can't be included in our multi-streams on Monday and Saturday. They get a stream just for them. Office hours, I liken it to if we had like a corporate headquarters where you could come in, get a tour, meet our staff, hang out, ask questions, whatever. That's what it's like. You can come into Discord, hang out, ask questions. We more often than not are more laid back in the office hour stream. We still provide support, but we do get sidetracked a lot and talk about fantasy and D&D lore and Stargate and whatever happens to be on TV that week. We discuss a lot of things in there, but it's just a fun place to hang out with like-minded GMs and vibe. And then lastly, every other Saturday, we host a stream. Every Saturday there's a stream, but every other Saturday it's a different theme. This upcoming Saturday is the Dam Challenge, which is our ongoing map making contest. The current theme is fun with objects. So if you want to make a map and share your skills with the community and flex your map maker muscle and maybe have a chance to win a prize, a $10 Hero Forge gift card, make a map of any shape or size using fun with objects as inspiration. Make sure you submit that map before end of day on Friday in our Dam Challenge channel in our Discord. There are some rules for the contest pinned at the top of the channel. Make sure you look at those rules. Make sure you follow them for your submission so you're qualified. As long as your map is qualified, you have a chance to win that $10 Hero Forge gift card. And if you win, your map is the first map featured on the Dam Challenge stream. About a half hour of eyes and FaceTime with your map from our community as we ogle it, go and look through it top to bottom and explore it. And then we move on to the runner-up maps that were the other entries and share them throughout the stream as well. The opposite Saturday, every other Saturday, is the Dam stream, where it's more of a focus on support and showcasing maps and assets shared on the Steam Workshop instead of the contest. So we host 3 streams per week. Same damn time, same damn channel. You can tune in, hang out, ask questions, learn, or just sit there and lurk if you want to. Really, it's up to you. Anyway, again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you all today. Again, Dungeon Alchemist is on sale for 20% off. It is available on Steam. There is a free demo that you can try before you buy so you can see if it works on your computer. Quick little disclaimer for everyone that's running into laggy or weird performance issues with this update. There is a bug. The devs are aware of it. They're researching it and will put out a patch. Half the dev team, though, is out of the office right now on vacation, so it's not necessarily going to be a quick fix. When they get back, hopefully it'll be sorted out. But the bug is really easy for you to fix on your own end. If you load a map and you're noticing it's running really slow, let's say you open a map and your frames are really lagged out, it's really stuttery, simply hit the escape button and click settings and then exit out of the setting menu. It tends to, for some reason, fix the issue. It's almost like Dungeon Alchemist is running at a higher quality than what you set it to. And then when you go into the setting menu, it recalibrates and fixes it. Because I went from 4 frames there to 40 frames in just a second from doing that. Anyway, if you're running into a problem, that might be the temporary fix while we work out a solution on our end. And remember, little things like this are bound to happen because we're in early access. So if you do ever run into quirky weirdness with DA, remember to report it to myself through the bug menu and the help menu here, or report a bug or give feedback, or do it in our Discord. That way we can track it from end to end and come up with a solution. Thank you everyone for being here. We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad and then we're going to end the stream, okay? Otherwise, we'll see you next time I give a damn. Mac out. Bye. Quick, one for all themed Dungeon Alchemist ad.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.
Thank you everyone for being here. Appreciate you so very, very much. We'll be back on Wednesday with office hours in our Discord. Otherwise, Saturday on our multi-stream feed across Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Steam. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you next time I give a damn. Back out. Bye.